374 Amar Food Stores Meyar ka naam Munasib Daam.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jyoti Sood. Let's face it, lockdown has left many of us carrying some extra weight. But extra weight can put pressure on our bodies, making it harder to fight diseases like cancer, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. So now is a great time for us to get our weight on track. The Better Health website has lots of free tools and tips to get you started. So for help and support to lose weight, search Better Health. Let's do this.
Did you know that over 361,000 children die every year due to lack of clean water? Clean water is not a luxury, but a basic human right. UKIM is working to end their suffering by providing clean and safe water. This Ramadan, make a difference. Provide clean and safe water with UKIM. For donations, call now or visit ukim.org.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices. Or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Find us on Facebook at Salam Radio.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning. Hello, this is your host, Iram Shah, with you for the next hour on Winning Women on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. I hope you're all well. If you're tuning in for the first time, the premise of the show is to showcase to you a new female guest each week from different business sectors so that they can share their story to success. Get involved. You can get involved by, if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook or YouTube, you can comment below. If you're on your car radio local in Peterborough, you can call in on 01733 602 133, or you can message us on 074 11 191062. So I love doing this as a woman in business myself. So if you're not following me already on Facebook or LinkedIn, feel free to follow me and see how I work with people to make them wealthy through property. So let's get on with the show. Get ready to be inspired and motivated by my next guest, a multiple award-winning nutrition coach and wellbeing coach on a mission to empower women to take control of their plates and well-being. Sonal Ambasna. Hello.
Hi, Erin.
Hi, Sonal. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I'm so looking forward to this, Sonal. We've had such good feedback already. Lots of people are very excited to listen in. So yeah, it's all very exciting.
Fabulous. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sonal. So, Sonal, tell us, as a nutrition and health coach, what exactly do you do?
So my modus operandi is helping women, particularly time-strapped women, take charge of their plates and well-being. And what I mean by that is actually understanding what nutrition is and putting that into practice. Okay.
Yeah. And then can you also demystify how a dietitian and a nutritionist are different?
So a nutritionist and dietitian, they're more clinical based, especially a dietitian is very clinical. So those are the kind of people you would see working within a clinical setting, in a hospital, that kind of thing. And a nutrition is obviously has done the whole 3 years learning really in a very in-depth way about nutrition and how the body works. A nutrition coach, in contrast, is someone who's probably done something shorter, like myself, and it's a lot more practical. So we focus on how the body works and the science of nutrition, but also we obviously haven't done it in as much depth as a nutritionist. Mm-hmm. But as a coach, it's about putting what we learn into practice. And I find that's what a lot of my clients struggle with. We all kind of, on some level, know what healthy eating looks like, but it's understanding how it works for us and how we can make it a part of our daily lives. So with me, it's a lot more about accountability and helping people make changes that actually are sustainable and are with them for the long term.
Right, and sort of hand-holding a service.
That's right.
Yeah, but you've not always done this, Sonal. So it would be great if you can tell the listeners briefly a little bit about your previous career background and where your interest in nutrition then stemmed from.
Sure. So I used to work in the city. I was there for over a decade. Had a very good career in the city. Enjoyed that whole lifestyle. But then once I had my son, I started thinking about nutrition differently. Up until that point, I didn't think I really cared about nutrition, hadn't really thought about it in depth or tried to learn about it for myself. It was very much just following what was in vogue at the time, which is really not the way to do it. So when after I had my son, I was very adamant that he would understand, I would feed him well and do the best by him. So I started learning myself a little bit about nutrition. And I realized there was a lot more to it than I particularly understood. And in 2017, I noticed a course at Leith School of Food and Wine, which was nutrition in practice. I thought, well, this is what I need. I need to understand nutrition, but how to put it into practice. And up until that point, my poor mum, she tried to get me to learn how to cook. But, I think I've got better things to do, so I didn't really pay much attention. And now I wanted to for the sake of my family. So I wrangled every Wednesday off work for 10 Wednesdays from my city job. And I was very surprised he gave it to me, but I must have been very persuasive because I did. So I went off to Leith, and every Wednesday, at a time when I was very busy, I had a toddler at home. Thank God my husband was able to help out. And once I started doing the course at Leith, it opened up a new passion in me, which hadn't been there before, where I thought for the first time in my life that I could take control of my health and I could steer it in the direction I wanted, which was really empowering for me. And once I'd done the course, I felt like actually this is an angle that I'd like to pursue. So I started looking at retraining as a nutrition coach so I could help other women who were having the same struggles I was, so that, I could help them improve their health. So I started looking at that. I went part-time at work so I could spend more time with my family. I started retraining as a nutrition coach, really spent a lot of time in the kitchen, not necessarily improving my technical cooking skills, but, really thinking about making healthy dishes that taste good and, mums, working women can whip up very, very quickly. And it just lit a whole different fire under me. And here I am today as a practicing nutrition coach.
Fabulous. So whilst you were working and you, in the corporate world, you embarked on this weekly course to officially learn about nutrition. What was your vision at the time for yourself?
I think when I first started doing the course, it was very much that I want to do this for my family. I want to step away from, believing everything I read on Google and Instagram, and I wanted to become better informed. And for me, it was a method of self-development that, I want to be able to do this for my family. I had never thought that it would turn into a new career path for me. But as I was doing the course, I was getting some amazing feedback on the meal plans I created, on the dishes I created, and particularly at the end, we had a session where I had to do a practical assignment, and I created a dish which was very, very different to anything I've cooked before, and it was all about nutrition, but also good taste. And it just made me realize I can actually do this, and I actually won an award for that dish. And it made me think, hang on a minute, I've been stuck on this corporate path because it's the expectation. You go to university, you do a professional degree, you do something, that's considered professional by your peers, by your family. And I thought, hang on a minute, there's something creative there within me that I can maybe channel into a career potentially that I would find a lot more rewarding. I'm very keen to empower women and work with women. I thought, I've got to explore this.
And what dish did you make? I'm intrigued. What dish did you make that you won the award for?
So the final one, it was a turmeric and herb quinoa salad with roasted harissa vegetables. We had halloumi steaks. It was all vegetarian, but I call them steaks. And we had a lovely homemade pesto in between, and a lovely beetroot and apple kind of salad thing on top. So loads of elements to it. But when you have the dish as a whole, it was really rather delicious and quite nutritious for you too. And the judges really liked that.
Sounds scrumptious. And was that deliberate that you put so many different types of ingredients in there? A little bit of veg, a little bit of protein. Was that deliberate?
Yes, we were given. We were given a brief of the ingredients, a list of ingredients that we could use, and so it was, there were parameters. It wasn't a freestyle exercise, but we weren't told how to cook it. But obviously, having been at Leith for 10 weeks, the idea was always to create an elevated dish, not maybe something that I'd whip up on a weekday, but something that had different elements and was, from a palate point of view, very interesting.
Good. And so was that, and then you said you received an award as well. So was that that was first of many awards to come, wasn't it? Because you've been doing this for a very short period of time, and you've already received so many multiple awards. Tell us how that made you feel.
I think when I was working in corporate, it was very much a sense of, this is what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing fine, and I'm just going along that track. But I never thought I'd be able to do anything else. So when I got that first award, at least I was blown away. I was really, really surprised, because there were so many other talented people on the course, and to be singled out was something I really wasn't prepared for. So, it was gratifying. I thought, well, all this effort that I've been putting in, all these late nights I've been doing, all this learning I've been doing has definitely been worth it. And actually, to be able to put it into practical work was, I was very surprised, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
And even...
Yeah, go on.
No, I was just very surprised, to be honest, but also very encouraged that this was something that I could do.
Mm-hmm. And was that the ammunition that you needed in order for you to take the plunge and leave the corporate world?
Yeah, I do think so. I think for a while I hadn't been happy in my corporate career. I wanted more time with my family. As a woman, I think, particularly in the current age, we struggle. We're expected to, be a domestic goddess. We're supposed to be social butterfly. We're supposed to be great cooks. We're supposed to then have an amazing bloody career as well at the end of it. And I think it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot that there's a lot of expectations on us, and we try to fulfill them. And for me, I just got to a point where I was like, no, actually, I'm quite happy spending more time at home, cultivating that time with my son. So for me, it was a very organic thing. I thought, well, actually, this fits in with what I now want from life. But it's been brave enough to admit that, I think, because a lot of us are, told that being professional and having a professional career, having all of those things are important. And the creative industries maybe aren't as, looked upon as favorably as they are probably now. I think things have changed in the years since I've changed what I've been doing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Certain careers are not seen as careers; they're just seen as a passion, a hobby. So, and this is what we like to do. We like to have people like yourself on here to inspire others and help them realize that you can pursue a hobby and turn and convert a passion, a hobby, into a profitable business.
I absolutely agree. I think it just requires a bit of opening our eyes and being a bit brave. Certainly for me, taking the leap away from corporate was a very scary time, and I was lucky enough to have the support of my family and able to, put my crazy plan into action.
Fantastic. Right, let me just remind everybody, I have put a live link on my timeline as well, just to see if that works. So please message me, comment below. If you are listening on the live stream, you can comment and say hi, tell me where you're listening from, and get your pressing questions around nutrition, well-being, anything in regard to Sonal's business, how she started, etc. Would love to hear from you. If you're local to Peterborough, you could listen on to you're listening on 106.2 FM. You can call in on 01733 602 133. We would love to hear from you. Say hi. Let us know you're listening. We've got multiple award-winning nutrition and health being coach, Sonal Ambassador. Sonal, you touched on something that was quite interesting, because I find that the modern women, success is often measured by her being able to do everything from juggling her career, family, friends, herself. How do you help women break that cycle so that they can then prioritize themselves too?
So having been through it myself and struggled with these ideas that people have of, expectations they have of me as a woman, a modern woman who works and has a child and has a family, I started dissecting kind of the views people had of, the expectations, and often they're quite unrealistic, but we put them on ourselves and we do everything to meet them. So people think it's okay, and we think it's okay while we're burning out, in the background. And I realized that actually what we need is to free ourselves from these ideals, from these ideas around what women can do. It's not like potentially our parents' generation where the men worked and the women were at home, and the two realms were quite separate. We're expected to do it all, and I found that very stifling at some point. And I could see people around me who it was very affected by. So when I work with my clients, I'm very cautious about giving them too much to do. I'm very understanding of the personal situation. And more than that, I like to empower them to take more charge of the way their health is headed, and to make more time for themselves, to prioritize their own needs. Because I think as a woman, as a mother, it's very easy to become overwhelmed, to be overworked. And then, it's like that deck of cards. We're at the bottom. If we fall, the whole deck of cards falls, right? Mm-hmm. So far better to understand how to take care of ourselves. And that will look different for different people. It's carving out that time for yourself to think about what you want, what you need, how to prioritize your own health and your well-being. I think we've all got to do that. I think we owe it to our families to do that, and we owe it to ourselves. So a large part of what I do is encouraging women to take 5-10 minutes out of the day to do something for themselves. Start looking at the things that gave them joy when they were younger, and start reconnecting with those things and connecting with their sense of self. I think we lose ourselves a little bit when we get married and have children. But I think we're capable of so much. I do think, the female species are indomitable. So the reconnecting women to their power, and that's a weave through all the coaching that I do. Even though we start with nutrition, invariably we extend to other areas of life.
And when you first started doing this, Sonal, you first worked on your family and friends. So how did those experiences help you then come into this niche of just wanting to work with, working women? So obviously initially when I was starting out and I was trying to build my confidence, I would work with whoever came my way by way of family and friends. I worked with my cousins who were boys, and I also worked with men, women, a wide variety of people. But as I was doing that, what I realized was that it was the women that were struggling more with putting these changes into effect because they had so much more to do. They had other responsibilities which they'd often prioritize over their own well-being. And it made me realize that actually it's the women that I'd like to prioritize helping. And I had more in-depth conversations with the women. For them, it wasn't just about the nutrition. As soon as you start talking to them, it becomes clear that there's a lot more that goes on with them that stops them from eating well and being healthy. It's not willpower. It's not. Sometimes it is time. Sometimes it feels like it's time. But it's all these other responsibilities we have, and it's not shaking those off, but prioritizing those with grace, but also making it a priority to look after ourselves and not being, it's fine, it doesn't matter. It does matter, and it's making women believe that their health matters. So yeah. And how has your corporate experience helped you in regards to what you're doing now? What skills and have you using to help you work on your business now?
It's an interesting question because in some ways, having had the corporate background probably impedes me because you're used to living that frenetic, very busy lifestyle. You want things done and you want them done now. And doing what I do now, I've had to really slow down. And I live a very different life now to what I did before. So in some ways it's impeded me because I've had to really rework all of those things. And just learn to be a lot more calmer, a lot more cooler, which has definitely helped in my coaching, which most people would describe as quite positive and uplifting, even when I'm telling them that they've got to change how they eat. But I think also corporate has helped me in terms of the negotiation skills and just, the written skills and things like that, because I do feel that I'm able to articulate myself in words and, do speaking quite well. And that's probably because of some of the work I've done in corporate.
And then you've mentioned that, so do you find, what sort of women approach you now? What sort of women do you like to work with now?
So mainly it'll be women who are in their late 20s to their, mid 40s, within that age range. Some of them are married, some of them are not, some of them have children, some of them don't. But it's always women who are quite busy, women who know that they need to prioritize their health and their well-being. They're just always not sure of how to do it or how to go about it, and they feel like they need someone to hold their hand, give them a new perspective, help them change the way they think about food. Time is an issue always, so that's why mainly it's the women who have the time-strapped element in there that I work with. But it's women from all aspects of different areas of life. I work with women who are stay-at-home mums. I work with women who are city professionals. So it's like the whole gamut, really. But it's people who want to learn about what healthy eating looks like without, Googling things, and want to understand how their body works so they can really fuel it in the best way.
Yeah, and what similar dietary patterns have you identified amongst all your clients?
A lot of people think that they eat healthily because we have this, I don't eat white bread, I have brown bread. I don't eat white pasta, I eat whole grain pasta.
I do that.
Yeah, a lot of us do, and I used to do it too, so I'm completely understanding with my clients when they share this with me. And that's really like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to healthy eating. Healthy eating is so much more. And patterns I see is that most people feel like they are eating healthily or they're eating quite well. But when we look at their food diaries and when we dissect what the food they're eating is actually doing to them, it becomes apparent that there's a lot more that they could be doing. And that, I think, sometimes empowers them because they feel like, oh, actually, I don't feel 100%, but I've made these little changes. If I make bigger changes over, in the long term, those are going to compound and I can take control of my health. Something that comes up a lot as well is insulin issues. Things like diabetic people with pre-diabetes. And I think it's a common thread, not just with my clients, but across society, where, we eat a lot of carbs. We all eat a lot of carbs. We consistently overload our body with carbs. It's a comforting way of eating. No one likes to be told to limit their carbs. But if anyone was looking to become more healthier, that's the first thing that I would say. Take control of your blood sugar balance. It's not only important if you've got diabetes, it's important for all of us. It's important for energy levels. It's important for your long-term health. It's important for such a wide range of issues. And no matter how you eat, lowering your intake of carbs is going to help manage your blood sugar levels in the long term, and for your metabolic health to be quite robust, which I think all of us are lacking, and we could all do with, being mindful of our carb intake.
And sort of, why do you think we feel as if we're doing okay by just switching the bread, etc.? Do you think there's a lot out there that gives us mixed messages, conflicting information about what we should and shouldn't be doing? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's just how you described it, Iram. There is a lot of information out there. There's a lot of conflicting information out there. And what happens is, you read something one day and you think, okay, I'm going to put this strategy in place. The next day you may read something else. I don't think, things like The Sun and the Daily Mail, all these places help. It's very haphazard, the reporting. For a long time, and I think we forget what healthy eating looks like. It's about going back to our roots and thinking, eating as naturally as possible, eating as wholesome meals as possible, eating a variety of things as possible. And somewhere along the lines, we've lost that. And that's because of, big food. We were bombarded with adverts. We think if we're having cornflakes, that's a healthy meal. But it's processed. We eat a lot of ultra-processed foods. The availability of ultra-processed foods and convenience food has made us think that we're eating well because this has got it's a healthier version on the packaging. It's saying it's low fat on the packaging, but really, when you look at the ingredients list, when you look at the nutritional value breakdown, it's not. I make this mistake. Often I'll buy something and I'll look at the back of it and I think, well, hang on a minute, why have I got this? This is really not nourishing at all. But it's an easy thing to get sucked into, particularly because we don't receive any nutrition education. We don't learn it at school. We certainly don't learn it later on. Even medics have, they have a couple of hours, I think, of nutrition education. That's just not enough, really, is it?
No.
So it's no wonder that we find ourselves in a place where we're flummoxed completely by what nutrition actually is. But I think this is where nutrition coaches like myself can really be helpful in grounding what healthy eating is for you individually, rather than listening to all the messages out there, which are also very generic, of course.
That's right. So you offer more of a bespoke service whereby you can look at a person's individual circumstances and advise them accordingly. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
The personalised approach is very important to me because we're all different. We all have different dietary requirements. What works for me may not necessarily work for you. And I think ultimately it's not about fitting a square peg into a round hole. It's about, exploring, trying different things and working out what works best for you and giving you the confidence to do that going forward in your life.
Yeah, and I think also, Sona, a lot of our eating habits start from when we're young as well. We've been told, for example, and I know a particular generation has been told that they must finish off finish everything on their plate. What has that led people to, how's that helped our, or not helped our eating habits?
Well, I think, particularly the older generation, they had their way of doing things. We were encouraged to finish everything on our plate because there was that value for food, which perhaps we've kind of lost somewhere along the way because there's so much available to us. And I can understand it from their point of view then. It doesn't necessarily work in today's world because we eat too much as it is. We eat too much of the wrong things. And this idea that we've got to finish everything on our plate, what that does is children aren't learning how to listen to their satiety cues. They're overeating, and they're overeating consistently, which is why we've got this obesity epidemic, not only in adults, but with children as well, which is quite scary because we're setting them up for, worse health, which is, I'm sure no parent wants to do. And I think it's, we've got to, it's things like, we think we need to have 3 square meals a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner. But actually, how about we eat to hunger? How about we see if we're hungry in the morning? Particularly during the holidays when we can be more intuitive and actually eat when we are hungry and stop eating when we feel like we're full, rather than, oh, it's on my plate, I must finish this. It's like, when we have, we were invited around to someone's houses for dinner, we're very hospitable, aren't we, as our cultures are. So we're overfed and we don't know how to say no. It's all those kind of things. It comes from a great place, but it doesn't always help us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and do you specialize in helping people in the South Asian diet as well? Because we know our food is greasy, very carbophilic as well. So I can't say the word, but yeah, loads of carbs as well. So how do you help with that, South Asian diets?
I do that as well, because obviously that's the way I eat, and I've grown up eating that way. So I can help people tweak how they eat. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to let you eat your favorite foods again. It's going to mean that I give you suggestions for maybe tweaking the way you make it. So, for example, if you're making a very popular South Asian dish, khichdi, I would say make it with brown rice. I'm not a huge fan of doing it with brown rice, but you can do it with a lot more of the mung than you do the rice element of it. So there's loads of different ways that we can tweak with our diets to just make it more healthful. It doesn't necessarily mean completely changing the way you eat. And that's one of the things I actually love doing, because I think it's so hard when you've eaten a certain way your whole life to then have to change it.
Absolutely. Right, Sona, we are going to go on a break in just a few seconds. Do join us back, have a comfort break, get yourself a coffee, and do join us with Sona and Basna. We are talking all things nutrition, well-being, health. I'll see you on the other side and see you soon. Take care.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
कोविड-19 से एक लंबी जंग लड़ते हुए हम यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं, और अब उन्हीं एहतियातों को बरतने की वजह से हम बहुत सी ऐसी बातों का लुत्फ ले सकते हैं जिन्हें हमने बहुत मिस किया। लेकिन वायरस अभी तक हमारे दरमियान मौजूद है, लिहाजा अभी भी अपनी फैमिली और दोस्तों की हिफाजत हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। याद रखिए, हो सके तो हमेशा बाहर मिलिए, और घर के अंदर हो तो ताज़ा हवा को भी अंदर आने दें। ज्यादा लोगों की भीड़ में जाएं तो फेस को जरूर कवर कीजिए। बाहर जाते हुए बहुत एहतियात बरतिए और बराबर टेस्ट करते रहिए। जिंदगी को आगे बढ़ाइए। ज्यादा मालूमात के लिए विजिट gov.uk/coronavirus।
Looking to improve your living space? Plan your dream home with AB Joinery Kitchens and Bedrooms. We design, manufacture and install your perfect kitchen or bedroom to your personal space and taste, with clever storage utilising every inch. We pride ourselves on our exquisite attention to detail. Let AB Joinery Kitchens and Bedrooms plan your perfectly tailored space, fitted around you. We also offer bespoke services for understairs storage, TV units and feature walls, all designed and manufactured by us. Call us now on 01733 686 767 or visit abjkitchensandbedrooms.co.uk. Open to the trade and public. AB Joinery Kitchens and Bedrooms, Unit 3 Brassey Close, Peterborough, PE1 2AZ. Plan your dream home with us. abjkitchensandbedrooms.co.uk.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jyoti Sood. Let's face it, lockdown has left many of us carrying some extra weight. But extra weight can put pressure on our bodies, making it harder to fight diseases like cancer, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. So now is a great time for us to get our weight on track. The Better Health website has lots of free tools and tips to get you started. So for help and support to lose weight, search Better Health. Let's do this.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Desi Restaurant is open, so why not order now for your family meal tonight? We've got fish pakora, chicken pakora, charga steamed chicken, lamb and vegetable samosas, biryani, pizza, faluda, jalebi, gulab jamun, samosa chaat, fresh chicken and lamb handi, Lahori channa and much more. We've got it all at Desi Restaurant. Special offer, Niari Opaya with 1 naan or roti only £6. Special lunchtime offer from noon to 4 p.m. Chicken or lamb curry and 2 roti only £6. Mixed veg curry or tarka dal and 2 roti only £5. Order now at desirestaurantonline.com and pay online safely, or call us on 01733 555 795. Delivery available, or you can collect for a 10% discount. 298 Lincoln Road, Peterborough, PE1 2ND. Desi Restaurant, the trusted family favourite in Peterborough.
In the heart of Peterborough, this is Salam Radio.
Hello, this is your host Iram Shah with you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Yep, sorry, I've pressed on the wrong button. Hello, this is your host Iram Shah with you for the next half an hour. We've already done half an hour on the show Winning Women on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. If you're tuning in for the first time, the premise of the show is to showcase a new female guest. Today I have with you a multiple award-winning nutrition coach, Sonal Ambasna. Hello, Sonal.
Hi, Iram.
Hi, Sonal. So before the break, we spoke about Sonal, how she's come from a corporate world, and now she's a nutrition and health well-being coach. We talked about how she started just last year, already winning awards, and how she helps empower women to take control of their plates and well-being. Do get involved if you're listening on the Facebook or YouTube live stream, then comment below, and if you're calling, then call us on 01733 602 133. Sonal, I can hear myself in the background. Have you got me in the background or echoing?
I don't know.
No?
I'm in a quiet room, no.
No, okay. That's probably something on our end then. No, that's fine then. So comment below and get involved. If you're listening on your car radio 106.2 FM, do just drop it in and say hello to us. Sonal, some of the things that we were talking about was women that, the type of women that you like to work with. At what point do your clients come and seek professional help for their diet and well-being with you?
Usually I find that it's when they've hit a block in their health. They've either been diagnosed with pre-diabetes, they've had gestational diabetes, and they want to take control of their blood sugar and actually learn what healthy eating looks like for them. Or it might be someone who's suddenly realize they've got intolerances and allergies that they previously didn't know about, or they've cropped up, and they suddenly feel like, oh my God, what am I going to eat? And, it's a whole kit and caboodle of trying to do things differently. So I usually find people come to me when they've hit a certain point and they need something to change, either health-wise, they want to lose weight, or they've just decided, you know what, I can see that my health isn't doing particularly great, I haven't got any problems, but I want to sort them out before I do get to problems. And it's really funny, I think in the last few months, I've had a lot more people come to me who are, in their 30s, heading towards their 40s, and I think you kind of have that wake-up call where you're like, your 20s, you just eat what you like, you don't really think about nutrition. Your 30s, some little niggles may come up, or you start to put on weight. And I think it's kind of a wake-up call where you think, right, if I don't take charge now, I may end up, going too far down the unhealthful side of things, and then I find that it's difficult to reverse things. And I think a lot of people come to me when they've had kids and they want to ensure that the kids are eating healthily. Often, as women tend to do, we prioritize our kids and their well-being, and we kind of, learn off the back of that, which is kind of what I did.
Yeah, and they want to be the role model for their children.
Yes, that's right.
So what does coaching with you look like?
So coaching with me looks like, it's very bespoke, personalized service. People can work with me for 2-hour sessions for a month or for 3 months, depending on what their requirements are, how much help and assistance they need. And each session, for the 2-hour session, it's a very intensive session. People walk away with very bespoke, specific recommendations they can put into effect straight away. And I think those are the people who are just like, I need something to change, like yesterday. I need to take charge. I need something to change. I haven't got an awful lot of time, but I know something has to change. So can you just give me some quick things I can do straight away, which are going to have an impact? And then you also I have a lot of people who do this 2-hour session and then come to me for the 1 month or the 3 months because they realize they need a bit more accountability. They need a bit more education and inspiration. And then people who come to me for the 1 month or 3 months, they get a session with me every week, very bespoke again. So we do things like having a kitchen audit where we will go through the contents of the kitchen. We'll look at the things that are contributing to their health, the things that are probably not contributing to their health, and how we can replace them with healthier alternatives. It's a very practical hands-on session. It's actually quite revealing as well, so clients do like that element. But also we do a lot of work around mindset. We do a lot of work around the education side of things. So, for example, if I get someone come to me who's pre-diabetic, we'll talk about blood sugar balance and what that actually looks like. And I often get told we go into a lot more detail, and my suggestions are a lot more practical and actionable than perhaps something they've got from the GP or that they've read up themselves, which for me is a big plus, because for me it's all about, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're not putting it into practice, it's kind of pointless, right?
Yeah. So how do you avoid? So sometimes when we want to make some changes. How do you avoid? How do you help your clients see this as a way of life, a new lifestyle change, as opposed to something, a new trend or something they just start and then not follow through?
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because there are people who sometimes have a clarity call with me, and I can tell that their focus is very much on short-term change. So, they've got a wedding coming up, they've got a holiday coming up, their focus is on the weight loss. And during that initial conversation, I'm very mindful of kind of reframing that for them and thinking, well, is it your long-term health you're worried about, or is it just a quick fix you're looking for? Because I definitely don't provide the quick fixes. And it is about looking after your health. It's not about those quick things that you do for 6 weeks and then in the 7th week you're back to square one. To me, that's a waste of their time and money, and it's also a waste of my time, because I really want to be of service and bed these women down into a healthful lifestyle that works for them. Once the client has signed on, accepts that and understands that, and then still decides to sign on, then every week I give them recommendations and actions that I'd like them to take for the next week. There's accountability between our calls as well. I'm very hands-on, but it's difficult to step away from my job because I'm so passionate about helping women. And my clients will message me and say, I'm going out for dinner today, but I want to make sure I stay on track. What kind of things would you recommend from this menu? Or they think, I'm having a really down day. I'm really struggling with energy right now. What can I eat? What can I avoid today? What will help? So by drip feeding people information, what happens is they incorporate into the lifestyle very easily. And I think as the weeks go on and you realize that these changes are having a compound interest on your health and well-being, and you're starting to feel better, you've got more energy, you're less bloated, your skin's improving, then it's very easy for them to want to continue to do that, because they're seeing week by week how beneficial these changes are.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, when you start seeing the benefits and you'd want to continue. So how does a typical day look like for you then, Sonal?
Yeah, so often when my son is at school, in the morning it's all about him and getting him ready and off to school. Once I've come back from school run, I'll often do something for myself, which is either go for a long walk, try to do some meditation or some yoga. Doesn't always happen, but that is always my aim, to prioritize myself early in the day, so I'm kind of in the right mindset for my working day. Then I'll spend some time with clients, having sessions with them. in the afternoon, I tend to, try and organize my social media, do all the life admin and the, business admin that there's often too much of. But also, start preparing my meal for the day. And often I'll do things like recipe development for my website, for meal plans for clients, because that's one of the other services I offer, which is a personalized cookbook.
Wow.
And that one's really great. Yeah, I do love this service. It is very bespoke, it's very in-depth. And the whole point of this service is that, say you've been diagnosed with loads of allergies and intolerances, I look at your diet, look at how you can amend it to include loads of foods that you can eat, so that you're not overwhelmed, so that you're not thinking, oh gosh, like literally I can't eat anything now the way I used to, and it's very intimidating. I had one client who's turned into a good friend now. She had something like 16 allergies and intolerances that I had to weigh up.
Wow.
And that took me a crazy amount of time, I'll admit, but I was so pleased with the end result, because it gave her confidence back in cooking. She started enjoying food, cooking, being out and about more. She was so much more informed. And I call it a personalized cookbook, but I really need to find a better name for it, because it's so much more than that. At the start is this massive guide to what nutrition looks like for you. If you've got allergies and intolerance, it will give you guides on things you can switch out and alternatives you can use, which won't trigger your allergies. And then you have the recipes themselves. And I like to think of the recipes as your go-to recipes, the ones that, once you start using them, they're quick and easy to put together, but they're hitting the spot nutritionally. But also at the end of that, I give you loads and loads of alternatives, how you can switch things out. So potentially some people have family members who are vegetarian and others who are not. So it's bringing that into and be like, okay, you can switch chicken into this instead of, a vegetarian protein source, and things like that. And it's just very, very practical. And I do love creating those. So that kind of satisfies my creative side.
I love that. Yeah. So in fact, and do you collaborate with like personal trainers or people who might have enlisted the help of a personal trainer and then need some help on the nutrition side? Do you have some sort of collaboration with that?
I don't have a collaboration as such. There are times when I'm approached to kind of help people who have got PT on board. Recently, I worked with a lady who has a PT and she's very focused on her weight training, but she needed help with supporting her blood sugar balance and what that looks like. I think PT's recommendations nutritionally are very different to what I would recommend. The fundamental underlying thing for all of my recommendations are overall health. It's not going to be to get you to lose weight. It's not going to be or quickly get you to lose weight. You will lose weight over the long term, but my priority is always your underlying health and not to compromise that in any way, which I think sometimes PTs have a very different approach, because they are more focused on the result of losing weight or, improving your physique.
Yeah, no, fabulous. We've got about 20 minutes left. Sona, I want to ask you, can you tell people how we can find out about your fantastic products, services? How can we find more about you?
The best place to find out more about what I do is to head to my website, which is www.nourishfoodforlife.co.uk. There's a lot of information on there about how I work and how you can work with me. I offer 30-minute complimentary clarity calls, and the purpose of that is not only for me to pitch my services to you. I like to think of it as a conversation where you'll start to think about food differently. So if anyone is looking for a little bit of support and just wants to explore potentially working with me, that's a great space to start. I'm very giving in my calls, so, book in with me and pick my brain and see what nutrition for you personally looks like. I keep a specific window in my week open for just those, and you can book that through my website directly. I'm also on social media, so you can find me on Instagram and Facebook under Nourish Food for Life, all one word. I'm on Instagram quite a fair bit, so if anyone's got any questions or just wants to find out a bit more about what I do but wants to hear from the horse's mouth, then do get in touch.
Good. And then as we're talking about social media, how are you using social media to educate women on all things nutrition and well-being?
So social media is, I find it to be a double-edged sword. It can be quite all-pervasive and very demanding. I think as a business owner, you have to be very careful about the amount of time you spend on social media. But the other side of that is that can be an absolutely wonderful tool to connecting with a wider audience, putting yourself out there in a less, I would say, formal way. And I've used it as a way of experimenting with how I present myself and my brand. And I love connecting. Some of the connections I've made on social media have been absolutely amazing. Some of the other business people I've connected with has been fantastic. So in terms of my business, I'll try, something I do monthly is to let people know about the seasonal fruit and veg that are available within the UK, because I think we tend to get, eating the same fruit and vegetables again and again, and we don't sometimes have variety. But it's so important for our gut health and our gut microbiome to eat a variety of fruit and vegetables. So I send that out every week, so everyone's got that in front of them. They can save it and refer to it when they go shopping. And I always say, experiment, find something on that list that you've never cooked with before, and look things up on Pinterest, pick my brain, I'm always around, and come up with a dish that works for you, but it's using a completely different vegetable. And I think that's one thing that we can all do, be more diversify our culinary palette. That's great for kids because they get to eat different textures, different wide variety of colours. But also, it challenges us. It keeps things fresh, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I wanted to ask you, as we were talking about, we talk about women in their 30s, that's the kind of age range that come to you. Do you find that your clients, before coming to you, are often trying to attain a certain level of attractiveness with extreme dieting and exercising?
Yes, I think most women that come to me, and me included, I've done this myself, we have tried some kind of crazy diet before, not just one, probably a few, where the goal has been simply to lose weight. We'll go on things like Life to Life or Weight Watchers. And, I would say 99% of the women that come to me have tried something of that sort. Like I said, I've tried it before. They work in the short term, but they are not going to help with your long-term health. In fact, most of the women I work with find that they put on more weight after a period of time. And they find it more difficult to regulate their appetite. Their gut health is sometimes messed up after that. And they actually feel worse than when they started. So I would say to anyone, if you are looking to lose weight, and there are other things that you're struggling with, really think about what you want for your long-term health. Is it worth losing weight in the short term to compromise your health in the long term? Or would you like to think about healthy eating in a way that, is sustainable and actually sets you up for better well-being in your 60s and things like that? Wouldn't it be great not to have any aches and pains then, or to get through menopause relatively unscathed? I think we have to start bedding down these good habits into our diet as early as possible so that we can protect ourselves from disease, so that we can live a more healthful life well into our 70s, 80s, 90s, hopefully.
Yeah, and do you think the reason that we have some of these poor diets, is it because there is a correlation between self-worth, how people value themselves, and a poor diet?
There's a lot of, what we eat isn't just about what we cook. It's about how much knowledge we've had, how we've eaten as children. It's about, a lot of us comfort eat. Food replaces something that we're missing in our lives, whether that be professional success, whether that be, relationship issues we're having. We kind of, get that comfort from food sometimes. And I think we've all done it in one point or another. And for some people, it's harder to break that chain of seeing food as comfort and seeing it more as, a fuel or a way to nourish your bodies. And there are a lot of emotional side effects of that. And to break that chain can take longer. So, for someone who's falls within that category, I'd probably want to work with them for about 3 months, so I can really make sure that they've, broken those behaviours that they've built up. Often it's not their fault. We all rely on things that we have available to us, but I think it can be broken. It is quite difficult, but it can be broken, and I think with the right support, it's definitely doable.
Fabulous. Sona, we've got 10 minutes left on the show. Dear listeners, if you're listening on the Facebook or YouTube live stream, you can comment, message, say hi to us, join in the last 10 minutes. Sona, in a world where we have apps for everything, from being able to measure our steps, water intake, the calorie count, so many more things, do you think we've become reliant on these as opposed to listening to our natural mental and body cues?
Absolutely. I think, there's so many things available to us now. We get grabby. We get magpie syndrome, which I'm going to get this app. I'm going to sign up for this program. I'm going to do this because we have it available to us. But how many of those things do you do religiously that you do every day? If you do them every day, well done. And, if you are using them to guide your choices and to have a better gauge of where your health sits, and that's fantastic. But if it is just, I feel like you want to be involved in the latest thing, then sometimes that can't, it can confuse us, and it can be one more thing that we have to do that we don't really have time for. So I think, and that, relying on apps and things like that, it does take us away from our natural intuition. When I work with my clients, one of the things that I'd like to help them do is to reconnect with their appetite, eating when you're hungry rather than just because it's a meal time, not feeling like they have to finish everything that's on their plate. But also understanding, when you eat certain foods, your body will tell you whether that's working for you or not. Mm-hmm. It's just whether we listen. So a lot of the exercises that I give my clients in between our sessions are designed to help them really think about whether they're eating for the sake of it. Once the kids have gone to sleep, a lot of us have that snack, don't we? That late night snack that we feel is essential because we're like, bloody hell, I've deserved it. I've just had such a manic day. It's probably the first time in the day I'm sitting down, and we tell ourselves we deserve it. Yeah. But actually, what is that snack doing to you?
Or Sona, if I eat too early, I often indulge as well, because I tend to eat about 6-7 o'clock, and then I just find that I'm feeling a bit peckish before I sleep.
And you're not the only one, Iram. I mean, I've done it myself in the past, and a lot of my clients do it. But then it's looking at, well, are you eating enough at meal times? Could you make your dinner a bit bigger? Mm-hmm. Could you maybe have a healthier snack at the end of the day that isn't so laced with sugar or salt? Because sometimes it's the chocolate and crisps that come out at that time of day. Mm-hmm. And, something I like to do with my clients is give them healthier recipes for, like, say, energy balls or for nice cream that are completely free of refined sugar. Have more fiber in them, so they're better for blood sugar balance, have more protein in them, so, you're not going to mess around with your blood sugar levels as much. And sometimes that's what they need. Some people need a replacement, a healthy replacement of the foods that they're used to eating, where some people like to go cold turkey. I had a client this week who loves sugar. She admits it. She's like, I'm a sugar fiend. I absolutely love sugar. But I find it far easier if you tell me not to eat it, I won't eat it. If you tell me, I won't eat it. Mm-hmm. With other people like, no, I can't give up the sugar. You need to replace it with a healthier version initially, and then I'll wean myself up. So it's about doing what works for my clients and giving them a solution that will actually work for them rather than any preconceived ideas I've got of what will work for them. It's listening and really helping them plug their nutritional gaps and dealing with their challenges and making them my own.
Yeah, and Sona, you're very passionate about also now helping children, because you've said that in your own words that this is, good habits stem from when they're young. And at the back of that, you've now started a new summer program for children. Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, so the Culinary Nutrition for Kids cooking classes are very much my passion project. I started them during lockdown last year. All sessions are still currently on Zoom. We've got 2 more sessions, next Thursday and the Thursday after. And the whole premise of these is to connect children to cooking that goes beyond baking. We've all baked with our kids, and that's great. They love it. They get the sugar, and, it's a treat. Fantastic. But I don't think we should frame cooking to kids in the context of just cupcakes or muffins and things like that. Why not teach them how to cook from scratch? Why not introduce them to ingredients that they haven't cooked with before, different textures, different cuisines? So my classes are all about really empowering children to cook from scratch, to become more kitchen confident, to become more creative in the kitchen. And I really think if we can get that right for our kids, they will carry that on into their adult lives. And knowing how to cook really basic things, and even things that, parents will think, well, they're not going to eat a summer galette with ice cream. I'm like, give it a go. They will. Kids are more responsive to these types of changes than sometimes adults are. And I think if you're consistently placing different foods in front of them and encouraging them to cook and enjoy cooking and giving that a bit of freedom in the kitchen, forget the mess, but give them that freedom in the kitchen, you're bedding down great skills for their future. I think our generation potentially has not paid as much attention to cooking as we could have done as we were growing up. So now a lot of us are learning how to cook in our older years. I certainly was, even though my poor mum was trying to get me to cook. But, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. We can really educate our children now and help them take control of their health too.
I love that. I love the fact that you're helping children. And so, and do you have any spaces on tomorrow's program still? Is that still available?
So tomorrow's program isn't going ahead because of a change of schedule, but we have got sessions next Thursday and the Thursday after, and the spaces for both. They are online, so you can join from anywhere in the UK or even the world. I've had people join from the States before.
Amazing.
And we're going to be making a mini meze. So we're going to be doing things like baked falafel, doing hummus from scratch, making a baba ganoush with courgettes, which I'm really excited about.
Oh gosh, can I join in this? I need to know how
yes,
to make
you absolutely can. And I try to time it so that, you know, once the food is made, everyone can just jump in and enjoy the food. It's around lunchtime. And the week after that, we're making grain-free pizzas. And again, that's based around the concepts of, yes, children need carbs for energy, but they can also switch to, you know, healthier versions of things. The sooner we introduce them to these and make them part of their diet, the more they'll accept them. And like I say, I often find that children are a lot more receptive to dietary changes than adults are if you go about it the right way.
Yeah, I love this. I like to hear. So we in the last 50, we've got 2 or 3 minutes left. Sonal, can you please provide some parting words to women wanting to prioritise their health and well-being alongside their day-to-day activities?
I know most women feel like they don't have time, but I promise you that with the right approach and your willingness to make your health and well-being a priority, it doesn't have to be a chore. Cooking from scratch doesn't have to be a chore. Learning about nutrition doesn't have to be a chore. I'm here to help you every step of the way. I'm very creative, and if it's what you want, I will make sure you will hit your goals one way or the other. You just have to trust me and come on board for the ride. You will learn loads. You will feel more empowered. You'll be inspired to keep on with these changes, even after you've stopped working with me. That's the whole idea for me. I don't want you coming back to me in 6 months. It's giving you everything, so you're good to go.
That is amazing. And can you remind people, how can they find out more about your products and services?
Yeah, the best place to get in touch with me is through my website, which is www.nourishfoodforlife.co.uk. I do free 30-minute clarity calls, so those are a great opportunity to pick my brain. Whether you choose to work with me after that or not is absolutely fine, but you've got me for 30 minutes and you can make the most of my knowledge and see what healthy eating for you can look like.
Great. And then you've still got places on your summer program for children in the next 2 weeks on a Thursday as well, you've mentioned.
That's right. I've got 2 more sessions available. You can book those through the events tab on my website. If you've got any questions about any of that, I'm also on social media. You can find me on Instagram under Nourish Food for Life and Facebook under the same. So, you know, come join, follow me and ask me any questions you have about my food coaching, my personalized cookbooks, or my cooking classes, which still have places available.
Thank you so much, Sonal. I've had such an amazing time, learned so much. I'm really interested in all this stuff as well for myself as well, so I'll be in touch as well. If you're not following me already, follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Iram Shah, helping people get wealthy through property, investments, services. Every week on here with Weekly Winning Women, empowering women, inspiring you. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.